One of the more interesting chironomid species we see emerging off many productive still waters in western North America is the one we call the carrot or amber colored chironomid pupae. It's very distinguishable as a pupae because it has a very amber or wood duck coloration to the pupa. It's not a small chironomid. They're generally best imitated on 14-2x, 12-2x nymph hooks. And the telltale presence of them being in the water is that when you see their cast shucks floating in the surface film, the shuck will be clear, but there will be an outline of amber or carrot colored coloration to the outline of it. So it's a very distinguishing feature. I seem to find them more prevalent or higher populations in clear water lakes. So those lakes that have a relatively high pH have lots of marl bottom on the shoals and edge to drop off, but the water's clear. And that's where they seem to be more prevalent. So next time you're out on the water and you see those shucks on the water with that amber outline, you know that's what's been hatching. And it's good to have a few of these patterns in your fly box. So let's go to the bench now and tie the amber chironomid pupa. In my vise I've got a debarbed Daiichi 1760 in a size 14, so that's a 14-2x nymph hook. We can tie the same fly one size bigger on a 12-2x. I've slid on a 3/32 brown magic bead, and I've put the wide end forward, and then I've tied on my 8/0 rusty brown UTC 70 thread as my base, and then the gills are going to be a uni-stretch, and the underbody will be the rusty brown thread, and then buzzer wrap and root beer will be the main body color. And then this is going to be a 2-wire chironomid pupa for ribbing, black in small UTC wire, and then also in the copper brown UTC. Okay, so we're ready to go. Make sure that's down. And you noticed on the images you saw in the intro, this chironomid has they have really plumose white gills, so I'm using a double wrap of the uni-stretch. So we're going to have fairly obvious white gills. Slide the bead forward, trim that for now, and then reattach my tying thread. So, and then I'm going to take my 2 strands of wire, the copper brown and the black, and I'm just going to lay them both, tuck them in under the bead, and then tie them down the back of the hook shank. And then I'm going to use my tying thread, and I'm just going to spin it a little bit to thin it out. So, just so I can try to keep the body fairly slender, but I want to get a bit of a taper towards the front end. So, okay, and then I'm going to take my root beer buzzer wrap, very translucent material, so what you use for an underbody thread or other flashabou, something like that, crystal flash, it's going to show through. Just a little bit more building up. Smooth those thread out. Okay. And then I'm just going to bring my just touching wraps up the buzzer wrap to the front, right tight to the bead, tie it off, and then I'm just going to, for insurance, just a couple quick half hitches so I'm not going to slip off. And then I'm going to take my 2 strands of copper wire and try to keep them as close together as I can. So then tie them off and twist them off like so. Okay. And then I'm just going to finish this with the rusty brown off. And then I'm going to take another spool of another good broad thread that's also rusty brown in a 10/0, and it's quite a bit, a lot more orange in it, and I like to finish these bigger flies off with that color. It stands out a little bit better. So and then finish that up. So there we have the finished amber or summer dot chironomid pupa, and then we're going to finish it off either with Solaris UV glue and then flash it, or you can use other resins or varnishes or head cements. So I'm just going to replace this with one that I've just finished tying to give you an idea of what it looks like. So there's the finished amber summer dot chironomid pupa. Clearwater lakes typically 10 feet to 20 foot depths. They're not often found in real shallow water, and again, you're going to know they're emerging because you're going to see the shucks with that amber carrot colored outline to their shucks. So tie a few up. You never know when you're going to run into this beautiful chironomid emergence on our western still waters.